And the 8th day, High Shabbat, what is the 8th day is about a new beginning or a new creation. So the 7th-day Feast of Tabernacles, on the first day of the 7th day, we did a holy convocation out in the open. Now on the 8th day, we are doing another holy convocation. Now the 7 days Feast of Tabernacles stands for the 7-day creation. 6 days he created the heavens and the earth, and on the 7th day he rested. But this 8th day, what it stands for is the beginning of a new creation. So when Christ or Hamashiach returns, he is going to implement a renewed heaven and a renewed earth, as is described in Revelation, new heaven and a new earth, which is to imply a new creation. So when Hamashiach or Christ returns, he is going to initiate a new creation. So that is what the 8th day stands for. 7 days, Feast of Tabernacles, which we have been celebrating over the last several days. Each day stands for the creation. And on the 7th day, the day he rested. But on this 8th day, High Shabbat, it stands for a new creation, which we have yet to see, but is prophesied to come by our holy convocation right now, according to the scriptures. When he returns, he's going to initiate the beginning of a new creation, meaning it's going to be a new heaven and a new earth. So all these feast days that we have been celebrating, according to Leviticus, the 23rd chapter, they all point to Hamashiach, return of Christ. They all point to him. They are not rituals, but they are actual prophecies. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
And let's go to the book of Malachi. The book of Malachi, one of the prophets of the Tanakh. We're going to go to the book of Malachi. And I'm just going to read about a time that is prophesied to come. In the book of Malachi, as we celebrate this great and glorious day, this holiday that we are called to keep in a holy convocation. Because that's going to be a day where everyone is going to be celebrating the Feast of Tabernacles, and not just a few of us. Not just a remnant of us. But a day is coming when everyone is going to celebrate the Feast of Tabernacles. Let me get to the scriptures. Okay. Now, excuse me, it's in Zechariah 14:6. Zechariah 14:6. Zechariah 14:6. Where it says, But first, let me read from the first verse in Zechariah, the 14th chapter. Behold, the day of Yahweh come, and the spoil shall be divided in the midst of you. For I will gather all nations against Jerusalem to battle, and the city shall be taken, and the houses and the women ravished, and half of the city shall go into captivity, and the residue of the people shall not be cut off from the city. Then shall Yahweh go forth and fight against those nations, as when he fought in the day of battle. The fourth verse, and his feet shall stand in that day upon the mountain of Olives, which is before Jerusalem on the east. And the mountain of Olives shall cleave in the midst thereof towards the east, towards the west, and there shall be a very great valley, and half of the mountain shall remove towards the north, and half of it towards the south. And it shall flee, fifth verse, to the valley of, and you shall flee to the valley of the mountains, for the valley of the mountains shall reach unto Azal. Shall flee. You shall flee, like as you fled from before the earthquake in the days of Uzziah, king of Judah. And the Most High, my Elohim, shall come, and all the saints with thee. And it shall come to pass in that day that the light shall not be clear, nor dark. The sixth verse. And the seventh verse, but it shall be one day which shall be known to the Most High, nor day nor night, but it shall come to pass that at evening it shall be light. Now I'm going to drop down from there. In the 14th verse, I want to drop down to the 14th verse. And Judah also shall fight at Jerusalem, and the wealth of all the heathen round about shall be gathered together, gold and silver and apparel in great abundance. And I'm going to drop down to the 16th verse in the 14th verse of the 14th chapter of Zechariah. The 16th verse, and it shall come to pass that everyone that is left of all the nations which came, against Jerusalem shall even go up from year to year to worship the King, the Most High of hosts, and to keep the Feast of Tabernacles. To keep the Feast of Tabernacles. Over the last several days, we just kept the Feast of Tabernacles. A day and time is coming where many nations shall keep the Feast of Tabernacles, not just a remnant of us or a few of us like today, but a time will come, a time is prophesied to come, where more than the Israelites will keep the Feast of Tabernacles. Where more than just a few will keep the Feast of Tabernacles. But there shall come a time where there shall be many nations that have been left after the Great War that shall come and keep the Feast of Tabernacles. Now, as I'm about to conclude, remember, the 7-day Feast of Tabernacles simply stands for the 7-day creation. But the 8th day, which is today, the 8th day is a High Shabbat. And it means the beginning of a new creation. So when we keep this day, we are actually celebrating about a future event that's going to take place at the return of Hamashiach, when he initiates a renewed heaven and a new earth, which is going to be the beginning of a new creation. I want you all to know that I love you and that I'm praying for you all. So let us continue to commemorate this day, to remember this day, and to show honor to the Most High, We are out here in a public location, in a public space, to do a holy convocation as we are commanded to do according to Leviticus, the 23rd chapter, at the conclusion of the Feast of Tabernacles. I want you all to know that I love you and that I'm praying for you all. Be sure to send in a voluntary